Rob Avery of FightHype.com here with Randy the Natural Couture. Randy, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. So Red Belt opens up next weekend. You've seen the film. What'd you think?
I liked it. I've seen it twice. I saw the East Coast and the West Coast premiere, and I thought it was good. It's a very interesting story. It's not a fight movie. It's not a beat 'em up, scrap movie. MMA is just kind of the backdrop, and so if you're expecting a big fight movie with a lot of crazy stunts and wire work, you're going to be disappointed. But I think if you're interested in some kind of intrigue and subversion and betrayal and that sort of thing, it's a great story.
Now, did you ever see the other MMA film that came out, Never Back Down?
Actually, I didn't get to see that, and I heard it didn't do so well. It was, I just didn't hear a lot of great things about it. But I think the fact that a guy like David Mamet wrote and directed, and Sony Classics got behind a movie like Red Belt, the floodgates are going to be open now. We're going to see a lot of films be made about our sport.
And so far, the movie's gotten good reviews and a lot of positive buzz. However, the movie is coming out with a lot of competition. It's the beginning of big box office summer films. Are you concerned about the financial success of the film?
I'm not concerned. I think David Mamet's work speaks for itself, and I don't think he's worried about the financial success. People love the movies he makes and the stories that he tells and the language that he uses in his films and the way he writes. So I'm not sure anybody's really concerned about that. I think it's going to stand alone. It's going to do what it's going to do.
Now, in the film, you play a commentator, correct?
I play Dylan Flynn, who's an athlete turned commentator, so that was a huge stretch for me.
Is commentating something you're going to continue to pursue once you're released from your UFC contract?
Yeah, after October, I've had several offers on the table to go back to commentating for the sport of mixed martial arts in some way, shape, or form.
Now, your buddies Matt Lennon and Chael Sonnen have tried it. Do we see any run-up for office politics maybe in your future?
No, I'll leave that to them. I'm not really interested in politics. I have my political views, and the big thing for me right now is the support of the soldiers, especially those guys that are coming back wounded from the war. And it doesn't really have anything to do with my political view, but it's definitely something I'm passionate about. So I'll continue to do a lot of work for that charity and that cause, and let the rest of the politics take care of themselves.
Talk about your charity, the Extreme Couture GI Foundation, and the event you guys got coming up.
We've got a 5K run coming up. We're going to have several of the soldiers here running in the event. It's in conjunction with the YMCA here in Las Vegas, and it's a huge park that we've kind of outlined a 5K course, and it's going to raise some awareness and hopefully some funds through the entrance for the GI Foundation and these guys that are coming back missing limbs and have made that sacrifice for democracy and freedom.
And now a lot of people, we're set to get our tax returns coming in soon, so how can people out there contribute to the foundation?
They can go to our website at extremecouture.tv and click on the foundation link and get all the ins and outs of the foundation, what we're all about, kind of what our mission statement is, and make contributions through the website.
Now, Mike Pyle fights, I believe, the next night after the event in Japan. Are you going to be able to head down there, make it in time, and corner him?
No, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go. I've got previous engagements, so Mikey's going to take some of the other guys with him to corner him for this fight. We're excited about it. He's really excited about that. He's never fought in Japan, and the new organization, Victory Road, we're going to see how that show goes. And I think it's going to be a great outing. Mikey looks to be ready. He's been training hard.
Cool. Now, you guys have a unique situation here, tremendous family atmosphere, but you also have a lot of top-level fighters. What would happen if the situation were to arise and two fighters from this camp were asked to fight each other?
Well, I think there's a very real possibility. We've got two of the top 155-pounders out there, Maynard and Tyson Griffin, and these guys train together all the time in here, and they both realize that at some point they're probably going to have to fight each other for the title. And one or the other is going to be first to vie for the title, and the other one's probably going to have to compete against him to get the title. So I think that's something we take very seriously, but at the same time, they're in here banging each other up every day for nothing, just because they want to get better at the sport and they love the sport. I think they look at it as a sport. It's not personal. They'll be friends before, during, and after that fight. So I come from that wrestling mindset where you wrestle with your best friends every day, and sometimes for the spot on the team to go compete, at the NCAAs or the Olympics or wherever. So, that's just the name of it. That's just how it goes.
Now, you got a lot of young, successful people here. I just being here for the first time noticed the strip is right down the street. Do you ever worry that could be a distraction maybe to some people
You know what? The group of guys that we have here are a very, very professional group. They conduct themselves as such. And, you know, after fights, and this is a great place to unwind. They can go and enjoy some of the nightlife and stuff here in Las Vegas. But I don't think it's ever really gotten in the way for anybody. I think they know where they want to be and what they have to do, and they take care of business.
What's your take on the Anderson Silva wanting to box Roy Jones Jr. situation?
I think he should be allowed to do that. You know, that's a huge fight. It's a huge opportunity for MMA. You know, Roy Jones is a highly respected boxer. You know, he's probably a way better boxer than Anderson Silva, and maybe Anderson will lose that fight. But who really cares? It's still only a boxing match. I'm sure that Roy Jones has no illusions he's going to beat Anderson in an MMA match. So I think it's short-sighted for the UFC to try and keep him from doing that. He should be allowed to do that and get that notoriety, showcase his skills in the boxing arena, and frankly, where else is he going to make that kind of money? I mean, it's ridiculous that they're not allowing him to do that. That's a life-changing event for a guy like Anderson from Brazil.
Can you talk about maybe how, you know, sometimes the fans and fighters get cheated, kind of like your situation with Fedor? You know, fans, we don't get to see the fights we want to see, and you guys, the fighters, don't really get to cash in on your biggest paydays.
Well, I think unfortunately right now the UFC is a pretty serious monopoly on our sport, and they're trying to own and control the fighters from top to bottom, and the exclusivity has to be loosened up. The other organizations have to step up and create another outlet for fighters, so that they don't necessarily have to be in the UFC if they don't want to be. And I think, you know, we risk undermining the integrity we've worked so hard to develop by not allowing the top fighters to fight each other, regardless of what promotion they're tied up with. You know, the Fedor fight's a perfect example of that. You know, Lindland and Anderson Silva, they should be allowed to fight, regardless if Lindland signed with Affliction or whoever, and Anderson Silva signed, you know, with the UFC. They're probably the top two MMA fighters. We need an outside entity to rank the fighters, first of all, in a subjective, you know, or objective, I should say, fashion, so that there's a recognized ranking system. And then regardless of where those fighters that are on that ranking are tied up promotion-wise, they should be allowed to make those fights happen. And, you know, some promotions are going to win those fights, some are going to lose those fights. That's just the way it goes. It's still a great marketing tool either way. So I think we really risk being fragmented like boxing is, and I think that's, in a lot of ways, has undermined boxing.
Talk about the WAMMA. You're recently hooked up with them. Do you think that has outside hope of maybe solving some of these issues?
I hope it does. I'm going to sign up for the Fighter Advisory Board and hopefully steer the WAMMA in a positive way. And you know, on their agenda, a lot of the issues that I see that we need to change, that ranking structure, that amateur piece of the sport needs to be regulated and kind of brought under one umbrella. You know, healthcare and retirement for fighters is a huge issue. You know, Matt Serra gets hurt last year, can't defend his title. What's he doing to make a living for the next 6 months while he recovers and can fight again? There is no healthcare, so I mean, those are all things that they're, you know, they're working on and they're interested in. So.
Now, Martin Kampmann was in the same situation, correct, with his injury?
Martin Kampmann is another example. Unfortunately, he comes from Denmark, where there's socialized medicine, and he could go back home and get his surgery. It didn't cost him thousands of dollars, and, you know, it was good. So otherwise, he might have been screwed.
Right. Now, you're known for your extremely accurate predictions. Obviously, you're looking to fight Fedor in October. He's going to be rumored to fight Tim Sylvia in July. How do you see that bout playing out?
It'll be an interesting fight. Tim poses a lot of interesting problems for anybody, especially a guy that's Fedor's size, my size. You know, I think most people are going to be picking Fedor to win that fight. But Tim's always got a chance. He's a scrapper. He's tough. He's got a great sprawl. He's long and rangy. He hits hard. You know, Fedor's never been knocked out. He's been hurt. He's been knocked down once by Fujita. But you know, I would think that Fedor's probably going to be studying my fight with Tim pretty hard and coming up with a game plan to try and go out and beat Tim. I'll be ringside watching that pretty intently to see how that goes.
Cool. Now, you know some about retiring and comebacks. Earlier this year, you went and spoke to the Green Bay Packers. There's rumors that Brett Favre is already, contemplating a comeback. Have you spoke to him at all about his retirement or a comeback?
I've only talked to him about hunting. I don't, I think I got the chance to speak to the Packers and meet Brett this year, and what a great guy. I just really had a good time with him, and I hope to do some hunting with him. He's an avid hunter, as am I, and so spend some more time in kind of a recreational setting. But I haven't talked to him at all about his intentions or whether or not he wants to compete. He had an awesome year, so I think anybody would welcome him back, especially the Packers.
Definitely. Well, Randy, thanks for taking the time out. Wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thanks, man.